Hello everybody, MegaZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting video. And for today, yes, we're in the thick of things in terms of the holiday season. Christmas is fastly approaching, but in lieu of the season, in terms of the holiday traditions and stuff, I'm gonna go with the old channel staple right here, or at least what I'm trying to make, and that is a hopes and wishes video for what I would like to see in 2024. Just for things that could be potentially announced, whether it be game announcements, some things in terms of movie related stuff. I have a little bit of stuff for PlayStation, but it's be predominantly mostly Nintendo things I'm gonna be trying to predict here, because as I'll allude to with my PlayStation thing, that kind of sets the tone for everything else though. But yeah, so that's basically what I'm gonna be talking about and discussing in this video though. But however, at the very tail end of the video, I will actually go over my predictions that I made in 2022 for all the stuff that should have happened in 2023. See how many of those things I managed to get right, or if I was like in the middle of the road, the gray area, or I just completely missed the mark on it though. But yeah, that's gonna be basically the gist for today's video though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into this video.
Rivers of destruction, hear out my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again. Rivers of destruction, hear out my command. Rivers of destruction, again and again.
All right, so for prediction one, I'm gonna be a little bold on this one. We're gonna go ahead and get this PlayStation topic out of the way though, because you know, when you wake up out the side of your bed, most people choose peace, but I guess today I'm choosing violence, because this is gonna be a bold one right here, really bold one. But I'm gonna say that in 2024, Sony is not gonna release a single first party game, or at least just the typical first party single player games that we kind of know them for. I think they're going to heavily rely on third party exclusives such as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's just like one of the examples out there though, because they've been leaning heavily on Square Enix right there though. But I don't think we're going to get any first party games from Sony in 2024. That's going to be a major shocker though. But I will say we'll probably get one or maybe two of the live service or multiplayer games. I just don't think, for some oddball reason, my guts is telling me we're not going to get a traditional Sony first party game. Like going into this right now, as of the time I'm recording this, at the tail end of 2023, we do not know a single first party game that's supposed to be scheduled for next year. You have like Concord, which is technically like a weird second party thing or whatever though, but nothing first party is solidified at this point. I don't think we're going to have another PlayStation showcase anytime soon. We'll probably still have those state of plays and stuff like that though, but I think that's going to be basically it. So at least if you're going into 2024, don't plan a lot of stuff from PlayStation side of things, at least when it comes to first party. Third party wise, I think we'll still be living it up. All right, now in terms of the Nintendo side of things, I feel like we're gonna get something Legend of Zelda related when in 2024. We typically, and they even came out on the record saying this, that they like to have something Legend of Zelda be announced and drop every single year. Coming right off the heels of Tears of the Kingdom that dropped off in 2023, it's gonna be a quick turnaround to get something out the door for Legend of Zelda. And I'm thinking that's when you're gonna go ahead and do these long Fable remasters for Wind Waker as well as Twilight Princess. I know this has been in the rumor mill forever and an eon, but I feel like now is the time to go ahead and break that out of the vault, because Nintendo likes to sit on games for a really long time though. But I think now would be the perfect time, the perfect excuse to go ahead and get that out the door, especially since we're kind of in this middle gray area where we literally could be almost on the verge or almost on the doorstep of having a new console come out from Nintendo. So the ports and remasters like what we're getting for Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, as well as like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, you know, quick easy projects like that to get out the door that can flip you a quick buck, think is perfectly in the avenue of what Nintendo's kind of going for, at least for the time being. So I think there's a good chance we might get that. While we're also on the topic of Legend of Zelda, yes, we already have news that we're going to be getting a Legend of Zelda movie that's supposed to be happening at some point in the distant future. So I figured I might as well go ahead and say something about this now. The fact that Miyamoto said he's been working on this for years kind of makes me think, well, you know, how much development has kind of truly gone up in it though. I don't think that the movie's going to release in 2020. I still think it'll be a little too soon for that. However, I do think, or I'm gonna go ahead and hope and wish this, that we'll possibly might get a Nintendo Direct at the very tail end of the year, maybe in that September time slot when they normally do a Direct, and actually do something similar to the Mario movie where they're going to go ahead and have Miyamoto come out, give us some information on the movie, maybe the casting roles or something like that. I imagine they're going to probably throw out a date at some kind of point, and it might just get moved or delayed or pushed back, kind of like how the Mario movie did the same thing though. But yeah, I'm thinking we're going to get some kind of news on it. We just probably won't get an actual trailer or a concrete release date within 2024. So that's my prediction on that. All right, so let's get into the fun hopes and wishes that I really hope, fingers crossed, that all of these things happen to become true up in this one though, because now we're on the doorstep of us being able to get a brand new, hot new system for the Nintendo series of systems, whatever is the future successor for the Nintendo Switch. A lot of people have been thinking about it's the Switch 2 or something on the avenues of that. I'm still gonna go ahead and call it's still gonna be a hybrid system, so don't worry about that. It's still gonna have the same form factor of the Nintendo Switch. I'm thinking it's still gonna be backwards compatible, but one of my predictions is I think they're gonna call it the Super Switch. It is perfect. There is no other name that could work for this system better than that, unless you're just gonna go ahead and call it a Nintendo Switch 2. We just can't get into some kind of crazy naming convention that's gonna confuse people from like the Nintendo Wii to the Nintendo Wii U. We don't need another one of those systems again, Nintendo. You hear me? We cannot have that mistake happen again. In terms of when this console could be dropping or releasing, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's either gonna drop in September or it's gonna go ahead and drop in November. I think it's gonna be one of those two time slots when it could actually be announced that it be a real thing. I'm gonna say maybe around May-ish or so. May, right before what would be the old school E3 time slot, April or May or something like that. I think when they will actually announce that the console is gonna be a thing. So that's it in terms of the console itself. But like all good things, you know, you got your hardware side of things, but you also got the video games as well. So in terms of launch titles, I'm gonna go ahead and say that we're finally gonna get this Metroid Prime 4. Yes, I went and predicted this mess last year though. We necessarily didn't get that, you know, this year though. But if that new system is coming out in 2024, I can nearly bet my hat off on it that we will more than likely get Metroid Prime 4 as one of the launch day titles for it though. Or sometime within that launch day window frame, even if it's within the first few months of the console releasing though. I feel like that's what my gut is personally telling me. And that's what I really want to see as well, that Metroid Prime 4 happens to get dropped out on that day of launch. And it wouldn't be necessarily just for the new system, it'll also be for the Nintendo Switch itself. So it's gonna be like the old school Twilight Princess where it actually dropped on GameCube and Wii within a relatively close time frame window or something like that, and it's technically gonna be back and pat. So it's like, well, you could technically play the older version of, you know, this newer title, Metroid Prime 4. I think that's how they're gonna be able to handle this one, or at least what I really would want to see right there. So Metroid Prime 4 better happen in 2020. It also isn't a console launch without some kind of Mario game as your flagship mascot being Nintendo. So we gotta have some kind of Mario game. So I would say within that launch year, I would think maybe it could be within the first few months or so, but we're gonna get another brand new 3D Mario game announced. Like, they've been working on this sucker ever since like what, the tail end of Mario Odyssey. Yes, you had like a little bits of DLC with it, Mario Odyssey in the meantime though, but then most of the development kind of shifted over to the Bowser's Fury segment that got added to Super Mario 3D World. And then I guess since then, they've been working on, I know they've been working on this thing for years. But imagine it's close to done or in that polishing phase right now though. So I'm gonna go ahead and predict that we're gonna get the next 3D Mario game. I'll even go out on a limb. I'll also say that the fact that it's gonna be more in the avenue of Bowser's Fury. You can have these open zone. It's not gonna be like linear like a Mario Galaxy or nothing like that. I think it's gonna be in the sandbox style like Mario Odyssey, but even more open like the Bowser's Fury segment where you're able to go from one place to the other without very minimal loading screens right there. I would love to see how that would actually be handled for this one game right here. But that's my prediction right there. So new 3D Mario game coming out in 2024, or worst case scenario within the launch year of that new system. All right, and in terms of my last hopes and my last wish, you gotta have a pie in the sky kind of wish or hope, right? It ain't a wish list without one. Like, you know, when you're filling out your Christmas list, you gotta put something out there. So this is my one choice right here. I would love to see Kid Icarus represented in any kind of capacity for 2024. Ideally, I would love to have a brand new game. That could, happen within the next new system for that Super Switch or whatever though. I would love to see it. But even if it's not a new game, I'll be content with them just being able to HD, Kid Icarus Uprising from the 3DS up to this new system. Where hopefully it's to the new system, because at this point we're so late in the game, I don't want to necessarily see it on just a Switch, even though they could do it as like a cross thing where it does work on the Switch and then they also have the Super Switch version though. We literally have other 3DS games such as like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD that's actually coming over to the Nintendo Switch as well. So I'm like, hey, you know what? This could be the start of something new with these 3DS ports. I would love to see a brand new game. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. Good online, good single player experience, all that good story, the voice acting stuff, top notch, all that stuff that made Kid Icarus Uprising great. Just give it to me, Nintendo. Just give it to me. That's gonna be basically it in terms of my hopes and wishes. A lot of these were things I would really love to see. The one thing I said at the very beginning with the whole PlayStation thing, it's not necessarily something I would love to see, but it's more like a prediction that inevitably I feel like it's gonna be a thing. So fingers crossed it doesn't happen, but my gut was just telling me I have to go ahead and throw that up in here though. But I don't know, maybe we'll get a cool announcement. Maybe we'll get a reveal trailer for Wolverine or something like that in the next year or something like that, saying it's gonna come out within 2025 at that point. But yeah, so that's it in terms of my hopes and wishes though. But let's go ahead and take a look at all the predictions I made for 2023 and see, was I right about some of those, wrong, or somewhere in the middle. All right, so first on my list, I actually managed to predict a DK game would be announced and revealed and dropped within 2023. However, we did not get a new DK game, so that's technically no. However, we did manage to get a new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game that's going to be coming out within February 16th of 2024. So necessarily I didn't get that one right, but at the same token, I kind of got a little middle gray area up on there. I managed to bring something to the fold though. I would still really want to see a brand new Donkey Kong game. I don't know, maybe we'll get that new Donkey Kong game in 2024 or 2025, maybe at the latest, because maybe, fingers crossed, we'll get something like that though. So I guess I was in the middle of the road for that one. Second on the list, I managed to put on there Metroid Prime 4. While yes, we didn't necessarily get a Metroid Prime 4 to drop that year, I think it's gonna be more so on the lines, as I said earlier in the video, that we're gonna probably get it when that new system drops though. However, we did manage to get a Metroid Prime remaster, remaster of the first Metroid Prime game though. So, maybe I willed that one into existence. I mean, you gotta give me a little bit of credit on there. So I'll put that down as a maybe. It wasn't necessarily yes, wasn't necessarily no, but we got a little bit of a maybe right there though. But the funny thing is, and I'll have Marco go ahead and play the clip at some point though, but somehow managed to summon Pikmin 4 into existence. Now hear me out on this one, and you can see the footage right here. I'm holding hope. I mean, shoot, if we get Pikmin 4, which isn't even on my list, but since we got Pikmin 4 ideally coming out in the year 2023, shoot, it's about time. I said that Pikmin 4 wasn't on my list, and then I turned around, and I said, well, Pikmin 4 is basically gonna happen. I was like, okay. I said, no, it's not gonna happen, but immediately said it was gonna happen. I don't know, you gotta give me some kind of credit up on there. Maybe I threw a bone to the Pikmin fans out there though. I didn't think, that wasn't a necessary prediction though, but maybe I willed it into existence. I don't know though, I don't know. All right, so next up on the list, I had the Mario movie and the fact that it was gonna be good. And to go ahead and say this now, yes, it was great. It was phenomenal. I really loved the movie. I actually managed to have, 2 copies of the movie in, I got one in this little star related thing, like this thing right here. I got a copy of the movie in this, and I also got the Blu-ray copy as well though. So yeah, nice to say, yes, the Mario movie was really good. And speaking of Mario, yes, I managed to put on the list that we were either going to get a new 2D or 3D Mario. And got that one right there. And I even said in that video where I was like, hey, if it's going to be a 2D or a 3D one, it better not be, if it was going to be a 2D one, it better not be like a stale, run-of-the-mill, traditional, like the new Super Mario Brothers games. And yes, we did not get that. We got Mario Wonder completely on the other side of the spectrum on that one though. So I managed to get one right there, so I'll go ahead and toot my own horn. Next, I actually managed to predict some Fire Emblem Engage DLC, and the funny thing with that video is, and I even left it in a little comment thing on that video, the time I was recording that, I was truly predicting that. Like there wasn't, no fluff about it or anything like that. No lies or anything about it though. But however, by the time I was editing that and actually published it, it did manage to come true. So I was actually able to use that footage in that old video right there though. So I guess I technically got that one right, but it didn't last long enough for y'all to actually see it come true on y'all side. But I figured I'd go ahead and mention that. So that was another one right there. Next up, I said with Tears of the Kingdom, I was hoping it wasn't gonna be like the old samey kind of feel in terms of like, how most sequels kind of get compared to their originals, where it's like, oh, you basically just did the same thing, just a little bit better, and there wasn't like a lot of changes, nothing like that. At least Tears of the Kingdom went over and beyond. We didn't know about the whole fusing aspect, in terms of like fusing items together, and then just like all the traversal that you're able to do within the actual world within Legend of Zelda. You had the sky, you had the surface, and a complete underground that we did not know. And I actually kind of called that one in that video where I said maybe there could be an underground. I did manage to get that one right though. So yes, Tears of the Kingdom managed to blow my expectations out of the water on that one. So I did manage to get that one right there. Next, I managed to say some stuff about Spider-Man 2. And at least with Spider-Man 2, I was hoping that we get something cool, some interactions between Peter, Miles, and kind of going back and forth, and maybe have some other kind of character playable or some kind of new experience twist or something like that. We did manage to get it. I can't say exactly what it is for spoilers for those that might have not played Spider-Man 2, but if you play the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about though. But it did manage to live up to the hype. So yes, I did manage to get that one right there. And lastly on my list, I managed to predict that we would get the Game Boy and Game Boy Color games added to the NSO, as well as GBA games added to the expansion pack respectively. And I called it down to the actual tiers on that one though. So kudos to me, because I knew it was coming at some point, but to even split it up into the actual tiers of where we're gonna get it in, you know what, hats off to myself right there. I managed to get that one right there. So that's pretty cool right there. I'm just saying. So not including the little Pikmin segment that I kind of just noticed in my past video, I managed to get 6 predictions right and 2 predictions wrong. And even with the 2 predictions wrong with the Metroid Prime stuff, as well as the new Donkey Kong game, still managed to summon some things up into existence right there. So you consider those as almost like a little bit of some maybes right there though. But I'd say that's too bad in terms of my predictions from last year's though. So let's hope that the predictions I made for 2024, a lot of them come true, except for the PlayStation one, but we'll see how that one goes though. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of today's video though. But I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section down below. What all do you think about my predictions? Do you have any personal hopes and wishes as well that you would love to see in 2024? Y'all just gotta let me know down below though. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of this video right here though. So if you really like it, make sure you're gonna hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing. So remember y'all, until what video I make next, see y'all.